Hello and welcome back to this week's episode of In Distress, a podcast where I talk about nonsense in the comfort of my childhood bedroom. Welcome to this week's episode. First of all, I want to apologize for this episode being late. I was really down bad last week, I'll be honest. Sometimes I feel like I bit off more than I can chew, but I know that I can do the things that I'm doing. I just need to be like a little more structured. But to be fair, in the past like week or two, there's been a lot happening. I had a mental breakdown last Monday. I did. I recorded this episode, not this episode, but an episode of this podcast. And then I went to sleep, woke up, and my throat was swollen again. And I was feeling really bad. And I started getting ready for work, and I went downstairs to tell my mom bye. And she was like, "Hey, how are you feeling?" And I was like, "I'm not feeling that great. I'm not gonna lie." She was like, "Hey, do you just want to stay home?" And I was like, "Girl, I cannot stay home. I am about to lose my job in 2 weeks. I can't stay home. I can't. I need to go to work." And so then on the way to work, like my throat's swollen, like I'm feeling terrible. It hurts to swallow. And I was like, girl, I was about to make TikToks because I always make TikToks on the way to work. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. But I was going to get on TikTok and make a TikTok about how, it be hard out here. It be hard out here sometimes. And, as an adult, you have to just keep pushing. And at the same time that I was saying that, I was just really thinking about how badly it sucks that, you have to keep going regardless the way that things are working in America. Like, you feel sick? You're feeling sick? Go on, come to work. Go on, come to work. Not COVID? Come on, come to work. Like, that's really morbid. That's one. But two, it was also like, wow, I'm really about to lose my job. Wow. These were coming up on the final weeks, the final days. And I just started crying. And I cried and I felt really great after the crying because I feel like I really needed it. I feel like I hadn't really come to terms with what was happening. Like, this chapter is really closing in my life right now. And I really want to believe that good things are coming. Good things are happening. And I feel like the only sane way for me to get through this is going to be me believing that better things are coming and better things are happening, which I do believe better things are happening. I mean, my TikTok has been doing well and not well recently because I talked about this last week, but I just really kind of feel like I can't and haven't found the balance of the content that I make on there because before I started talking about basketball, which I really like, yes, I was just on there making goofy jokes and talking about things that I love, like talking about movies and TV shows and stuff like that. And there is an understanding of doing the things that's going to get you the views. But at the same time, though, to me, there's no point of doing anything if it's only about the views and it's only about the likes and it's only about the comments. Like, it would be so great if this podcast did well, of me just coming on here and talking about my life and sharing my experiences and talking about pop culture stuff or movies or TV shows that I love, because that's the stuff that I love. At the end of the day, though, I don't know. It's really hard balance. I feel like it's really tough the second you try to make anything that you love to do as a hobby a job, in a sense. I don't think the internet is a sustainable job. No, absolutely not. I think that's been one of the things that's become extremely clear to me in the past few months, actually, is that I don't think I would ever want this to be like a sole job for me. There are so many people that I've seen come up on the internet and I've seen their downfall, or I've seen just people grow out of them. And I'm just like, wow. And all of my life, I feel like because I've wanted to make content on the internet, I've been trying to figure out what's the secret. Like, what's the secret sauce? I've never seen anybody successfully go from being a YouTuber to being somebody who's in the circles, making movies and producing and writing scripts and stuff like that. I've never truly seen a really great transition there. And I'm like, what do I have to do? Maybe I'll be the exception. Maybe I'll be able to do that. I don't know if there's a right answer to that. I don't even think that there is a right answer. I don't think that there is an answer. I think that this is a very unsustainable way to make a living. I do. And I would never want it to be my sole living. Like, I would never make this like my sole income. It would have to be I have a business doing something else. Or, oh, I make music and I do this. But even then, it's like with music, I love music a lot. Do I want that to be my job? I don't know. And now it's really making me question a lot of things and a lot of dreams that I've had for my life because I've always wanted to make music. At the same time, I've always wanted to make music. I've learned a lot about the music industry, and it seems like a terrible thing to be in. It does. The same way that I think a job is terrible. I think a job is terrible, awful. Oh, God. Like, I can't imagine going somewhere 9 to 5. I'm sure that's going to be my reality very soon, but it's like, it sounds absolutely god awful, honestly. Unless it's like something like basketball related for me, or like, I don't really know what job I would be happy with. Again, I don't think I would ever be happy with a job. I enjoy doing this. And like, if I could make money off of it, sure. But I wouldn't, that's still, it just can't be the only thing I'm doing, I fear. Like, this is so unsustainable. But I love doing it though. And so for right now, I'm going to keep doing it. The second it feels like a job to me, or the second that I'm not enjoying it anymore, I'm definitely going to stop. But as for right now, I'm having a good time, and maybe I don't need to have the answers to everything. I try to tell myself that all the time because I feel like I need to have a backup plan. I need to have a plan B and a C and a D and an E and an F. But at the same time, it's kind of just like, I feel like you just can't be thinking so much about that all the time. You have to be able to enjoy the moments that you're having right now, which sometimes can be super hard for me to do, but I've gotten better at it over the past few years. So I'm super grateful about that. But yeah, I've just really been struggling about the balance that I need to find in creating content because, again, the content's for other people, yes, but also it's for me. Like, what's the point of building community if I'm not doing something that I'm enjoying as well? Like, yeah, I do stuff and make content so that other people can find community, and we can have a little community together. Like, it's like it's like that other third thing, right? We always talk about third spaces. Like, we have work, we have being at home, but it's hard to find that third space. I'm sitting here trying to create a third space virtually in a way. And it's like, but I still have to love the third space too. Like, yes, making something for other people is so important. Having something that I enjoy too is also important. But also, everything isn't about me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the way that I look at humanity. Is like, I love humans. I love talking to them. And I'm going to talk about this TikTok that I saw in a second. But I love them. And not even a second, I'm going to talk about right now. I was watching a TikTok and this girl was talking about how she's been, I'm going to link it below. She's talking about how she's gotten used to taking in like bad art. Like, because she said nothing starts good. So obviously you have to be able to consume the bad stuff too, because you don't get the great stuff. You don't get the masterpieces and stuff without the bad parts, without the bad art too. And it really made a lot of sense to me. And then she ended up talking about other people and how basically you just have to be okay with stuff being bad so that eventually it can be great. And it's a lot easier said than done because it's a really great idea in theory to not care about what everybody thinks. At the same time, though, it's a really hard thing to unlearn because that's basically like you grow up and your parents are giving you advice on what you should and shouldn't do, telling you what you should and shouldn't do. There are rules to things in society. And it's like an unconscious thing. But you just start caring about what your parents think. You start caring about what your friends think because it's society. Like, peer pressure is a thing. Like, all of this stuff is a thing. And I think it's just really interesting. But anyways, she's talking about how you basically have to unlearn that because people are going to have something to say anyways. You could be doing the greatest things in the world. You could be doing the worst things in the world. People are still always going to have something to say. You just have to go out there and do what you want to do. And she ended up saying something that really caught my eye, which was, do you just wake up one day and you're everything you want to be? And I was like, wow, because and that's why I love like talking to people or having conversations. And that's why I care so much about community and getting to know people and knowing more people and talking to humans, and why that's so important to me, because it's like anybody could say that, right? But like I love language and I love words, and it's like that string, like it's crazy how like a string of words can just become like the most profound and abstract concept if you put them together in the right way. Like, do you just wake up one day and you're everything you want to be? Anybody could have said that at any point, but she said it when I needed to hear it. Crazy concept. Anyways, but she ends up saying that, and I took a step back and I was like, wow, you don't just wake up one day and you're everything you want to be. And she ended up saying like, no, you don't. And on top of that, she even went on to say, like, people are going to be talking anyways. You could go and post about that thing that you did, that art that you created, whether it was like photography or a portrait or something like that. You could go and like post that. And there's going to be people out there who are like, oh, it could never be me. You could never catch me doing that. Like, oh, that's so cringe. It's embarrassing. And she was like, yeah, like, no, it could never be you. You're right. Because you could never, like, you could never do that. Like, and it will never be you because you don't try new things. And that ate. She cooked. She cooked with that, I fear. Because there are like that's something that I used to think about all the time when I was creating content. I was like, first of all, I was like, Instagram, I hate it over there. It's like the version I am now of myself is so different from like the version of myself that other people have met throughout my life who follow me on Instagram. And that's why posting on Instagram is so disturbing to me, because it's like a myriad of people who have no clue who you are right now, but are definitely seeing what you're doing. And I used to think all the time, like, oh my gosh, what are they going to say? What are they going to think? And earlier this year, I ended up making a post on there and I was like, hey, guys, I be doing stuff on the internet. I have a podcast and I do a bunch of stuff, and I never post about it because I'm afraid of what people are going to think of me and what they're going to say about me. And I feel like really confronting that was a lot. That's scary. That's really scary, because it's so normal to care about what people think. And it's such a hard thing to unlearn, but I'm trying my best to unlearn it. Anyways, but like she said, like, there are so many people out there who would never even have the courage to post a video like that, who would never even have the courage to come on the internet and post. I used to be scared to death to post on TikTok. People weren't even watching my videos, but I'd be scared anyways. Like, and it was never like a fear of being perceived or anything like that. It was just like, is what I'm saying even good enough for people to listen to? And will people even care? Like, do people even want to watch this, listen to this, and whatever? And I still have like mini panic attacks about that. Like the other day I was recording my other podcast, and like I said, I had that mental breakdown and the week went on and I was like, okay, I'm doing better now. Like I think I just need to cry and feel a little bit better. But I had been still battling that little infection or whatever, or seasonal allergy. I don't really know what it was. Anyways, I was battling that. And I was like, dang, like this is tough. I was behind watching basketball games, and I haven't been on top of watching basketball games lately because I've just been going through a lot mentally. And I was like, I have to record this episode though. And I sat down to record it, and I had been recording for like 2 hours. And I was like, this is bad. It's terrible. It doesn't feel like me. And the second something doesn't feel like me, I know it immediately. And I was like, this isn't, my heart's not in it. It doesn't feel authentic. And I really am happy that I'm a quality over quantity person, yes. But at the same time, sometimes being a quality over quantity person, it's frustrating. Because I don't necessarily, because I'm also a procrastinator. So like when I do have those moments of being like, this isn't my best work, it's like, dang, it's really late in the night. Like this episode is not going to be up in time for the plan. Like it's not going to go according to plan. And so at that point, like, I'm sitting there and I'm just like, I wasn't myself, and I don't know why I can't just show up and be myself all the time. Like, why do I do this? And I was immediately just beating up on myself. Like, why can't you just be yourself all the time? Like, now we wasted all this time, and like, it's not going to be up on time, and here you go, like, you really goofed, you messed up, way to go. And I was really beating myself up, like I said. And I was like, I can't do it. Like, I can't do it. I'm not feeling that great. I am never going to get this episode done. It's not going to be on time. I'm just going to give up. I quit. And I was like, I need to talk to somebody because I'm spiraling. And my friends that usually talk me out of spiraling were like either asleep or busy, because it's like 11 p.m. at this point. So I called I called Destiny, longtime friend. Okay. Used to be with my manager when I was scooping chicken salad down at the Chicken Salad Chick. And I called her and she didn't answer. And I was like, hey, girl, just wanted to see how you were doing. Left a voicemail. And then that was it. And I sat in my bed and I was like, I just wasn't myself. And I really messed up there. And I was really beating myself up. And then she called me back and we had a conversation and she was like, tell me what's going on. And I explained what was happening. And I was like, I just can't stop thinking about it. And I feel like I'm not going to make the episode and it's not going to be on time. And my friends want to hang out on Friday, but I can't hang out because I didn't do the work I was supposed to do and all of these things. And she was like, honestly, like, girl, things are going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Take a second, take a little break. It's going to be okay. And we had a talk and a discussion about things and that, you know, she just kind of reminded me that everything's going to be okay. And I really just be needing that. And that brings me to this next point that I am just so grateful for the people who are in my life. I talk about gratitude a lot because it's something that I have let for many years get in the way of things. Like sometimes, like, I just won't be mindful of being present, and I won't be thankful for the things that I have and the things that I've experienced and the people that I've met. And I was thinking about it all today when I was thinking about this podcast and what I was going to be talking about. And I was like, I have just met some of the best people ever. And I don't know if it's just like, I just choose to believe that these are great people that have been in my life, but I don't know. I really have just met some really great people. My 8th grade English teacher, she's so supportive. Not even 8th grade. Was it 8th grade? It was definitely 8th grade. My 8th grade English teacher, top tier. She actually follows my business account on Instagram and my personal account and stuff. And sometimes I'll post on there and she always likes my stuff. And I have just been, and even like my 3rd grade teacher, who later became the assistant principal when I was in high school, and then she's the principal now at my old high school. And I'm just so grateful for the older women that have been in my life. And my math teacher, I've talked about her before, my 11th grade math teacher, so grateful to her. I just, again, been surrounded by like these amazing people in my life who have believed in me when I couldn't even bear to think about believing in myself. And even coming down to like personal, like self-esteem in the gutter, bro. High school was really rough for me. Mentally, it was really rough. And even like one of my teachers who taught early childhood education, sometimes she even like looks at my Instagram stories and stuff, and she'll like them and be like, oh, love what you're doing. And I'm just like, I have been so lucky. I didn't have a lot of friends in high school. I did, which is not actually, sometimes when I think back on it, I'm like, I'm not shocked. Like, I knew people and people knew me, and like I would giggle and haha kiki, and I have my little vlog that's still on this channel. And I was the vlog girl, but I didn't have like a ton of friends. Like I didn't go to parties. I wasn't invited to parties in high school. I've never been a cool girl. Like just been a little corny goofball most of my life. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like I love myself for like who I am and what I've been and who I've become and who I am becoming. But it's just like the reality of the situation. I was never that girl. I was never that girl. And I have no problem with that. Because I would go and talk to my little teachers after school. And, they'd be like, girl, keep your head up. Like, you're going to do big things. Like, when I graduated, like, I just remember that being like what most people told me. Like, I know you're going to do big things. I know you're going to go and do big things. And I'm super grateful that other people have been able to see what I couldn't until recently. And like I said, really happy about that. Even like one of my bosses from my last job really believes in me, really opened my eyes to some things. And again, super grateful for that. I've just been so lucky to have people in my life when I need them to be there and to believe in me when I didn't believe in myself. And again, so grateful for that. And on top of that, even more grateful for the friends that I have in my life right now. I used to lay in my bed and pray for friends. I did. Like good friends, great friends that I felt like accepted me and would be around me and would care about me and make me laugh and all these things. And the other day, I luckily got that podcast up. My destiny was right. She was like, "Green, take a second, take a breath, go hang out with your friends for sure. Make time for you, do this for you. But you can also, you can finish your podcast and stuff." And I did do it and I was proud of it and I'm still proud of it. And it took, I was down. I was down bad mentally, but she helped me get back up. She did. She helped me stop the spiral. And I got it done and I came home from work and my throat was feeling better. So I was like, let me go hang out with my friends. So I downloaded my episode and my friends were like, you can upload it when you get here. So I got to the function and, I grabbed a pizza before I went and we were all there and we were just playing Skippo. We played Skippo, Phase 10, Pictionary. And in the moments, like when I'm with my friends, not always like necessarily in the moment, but like at least like after a while of being around each other, I'm just super like just laughing together and hanging out and like we're not like playing on our phones. Like I can't stress to you how much I like love my friends for like when we're all hanging out and together, we're not like deep in our phones. Like, yeah, we'll take a peek at them or whatever, but we're not just sitting there like not engaged. Like we're having conversations with each other and I just love my friends so much. Like I can't even put into words how grateful I am for them. And like we laughed together, like we've graduated together, like we met in college. And again, like I used to pray for friends like this and I have them and I'm so grateful. And they've introduced me to some of their friends who will become my friends. And again, like I'm so grateful for the experiences that I've been having with them. And I'm so grateful to have friends that like are on the same page as me. Like we're all like, girl, I'm not getting married right now. I can't have no kids right now. Like I can't even imagine it. Like, and they're so accepting of me and I'm so accepting of them. And there's so much love in my friend groups and we have so much fun together and we go out and, we understand that like, money be tight for others sometimes. And I can't even put into words how grateful I am for them. But then I also have like a couple of amazing friends that I kept in touch with from home. Like Mary, friend of the podcast, has been on the podcast. Morgan, she listens to the podcast. Like those are people who I've grown up with and they're still there and they have been great friends to me. And we may not talk every single day, but I'm so grateful for them. And then I have like my college friends who I do talk to for the most part almost every single day. And I hang out with and I talk to Xavier. And Xavier and we play video games all the time together. We watch shows together. Like he would listen to my problems. Like I even the other day after the game night, we had such a good night. The next day, I was still tired, a little hungover. So I stayed and Xavier was going to work. So he was like, just come drop my key off at my job after. And I was like, okay. So I ended up falling back asleep and then I woke up. My throat was feeling much better once I was there, you know what I'm saying? And so like my throat's feeling better and I woke up and I was like, let me just go back to sleep. And I heard like, and I'm the only person who's supposed to be in their apartment, him and my friend Alani. And I woke up and the power went out and it was hot. Like, girl, that fan cut off. I was burning morning up, and then I went back to sleep, and then I woke up and his roommate, our friend Alani, was there, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, girl, I didn't even know you were here. And she was like, girl, I didn't know you were here until like an hour ago. And I was like, that is so crazy. Anyways, so then she was like, do you want to go see a movie? Like, and it's this it was that If movie, the Imaginary Friends movie. I'm sure you've seen the ads on YouTube. Or like some social media or on TV or something. And I was like, honestly, yeah, let's do it. So, I went and put all my stuff in the car because I was thinking like, oh, I'm going to go home after this. So we went to go see the movie, and it was just super fun because I love spontaneous things. Like, I love like a planned event, yes, but I also love like hey, do you want to go do this thing real quick? Hey, do you want to meet up at the park? Hey, do you want to go bowling? Hey, do you want to go to Popeyes? Like, I love a spontaneous event. So, and like I'd said this before, like, but I think like maybe late last year I said like I just want to start doing stuff like when the opportunity presented itself. Like sometimes you just have to say yes to stuff. And so I'd be saying yes to almost everything. So we went to the movie, and it was a fun experience because we did sneak in some food. We did. We snuck in some Chick-fil-A, and it was a fun time. We stopped by Xavier's job to drop off his key and to give him a Red Bull. And we just had like we went to the movie, had a good time. The movie was a kids movie, but it was good. I'm not gonna lie, it was entertaining and enjoyable. And there was this one part, though, there was a fly that was flying around. And the thing is that this wasn't one of those updated theaters with the reclining seats. This was one of those like theaters with just like the regular seats. You know what I'm saying? And so there was a fly, and it kept flying in the projector. So you could see it like throughout the entire movie. And sometimes it would come up to the screen and land on it, and then it would fly away. And there was this part where the girl was having like this monologue with her dad, and she was just like sitting by the hospital bed, and she was crying, and old girl was really trying to get into her bag, and that damn fly landed on the screen, and I was just busting out laughing. It was so crazy. It was so funny. Like, I was having the time of my life, and I was just so happy that I got to hang out with my friend. So the movie's over, and then we go back out to her car, and we go back out to their apartment, and she was like, oh, you want to play a game of Skippo? And so I was like, yeah. So we played a game or three, and then she was kind of like, and my sister called, and I was like, hello, and she was like, yeah, girl, the AC's out at the house. And I was like, ooh, that's not. So I ended up hanging up, and I was like, you want to play another game of Skippo? So we kept playing Skippo, and she was kind of like, hey, do you want to, like, you're not going home? You want to see another movie if Xavier wants to go? And I was like, yeah, absolutely, let's do it. So, she texted Xavier, called him or whatever, and asked if he wants to go see the movie. And he was like, yeah, sure. Because they're going to have to pick me up from work, though. And he was like, and we were like, okay, yeah. So, we play some more Skippo, and then time for the movie. So we go and get Xavier, and we ride to the movie theater, and we get there. I get some popcorn. The popcorn was busting. Mind you, we were in that concession stand line for a brick. Okay, we were already a little late. The movie was supposed to start at like 10:30, and we got there, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this, like we were waiting in that concession line mad long. I just wanted some popcorn. And so we got there, and we ended up getting the popcorn, and like right when we walked in, like the credits, and if you've been to the movie recently, then you've seen the Nicole Kidman commercial where she's talking about the movie experience. But she was on there, and we had just seen a movie earlier, and that ad came on right before the movie started. So we were like, yes, like we made it just in time because we had been out there at the concession stand forever. So we thought we were about to miss the movie. So we go to the movie, and we get in there, and we saw The Strangers Chapter 1, which I thought was a fairly decent movie. I'm easily entertained though. Like, I love a movie. I love the whole experience of going and getting popcorn and eating, and I love it. So we went and did that. And I ended up looking at the reviews today, and apparently people didn't like the movie like that, but I thought it was fun. But anyways, I got to watch 2 movies that day, and I love movies so much, so y'all know I was having a ball. But anyways, we ended up going back to their place and playing more Skippo, and then I was just gonna stay. I was like, I'm gonna just stay because the AC ain't working at home, so we might as well go ahead and stay. So I stayed, and then we played some more Skippo, and then we ended up going to sleep. And I was just really happy, like, and even like into today, I've just been, and like today was like the day off, the holiday. I would just had a really great time, and again, just so happy to be experiencing life at the same time as my friends, and to be with them and around them. And I'm just so grateful for them and I love them so much. But back to what I was saying, I feel like I talk about being your authentic self, and I've talked about it before on this podcast. I talk about that TED Talk, and when it comes to like making things or the world or creating something, I think about how much you need to just, when we talk about being selfless, it's not about thinking less of yourself, but it's not about thinking of it's not about thinking of yourself and like putting yourself down, but it's about thinking of yourself less in terms of like thinking of other people as well. Like, like it kind of comes down to the idea of like we share the world with each other and, help your neighbor, stuff like that. And when I think about life in that aspect and in terms of that, I'm kind of like, wow, like I'm so grateful for this. I'm so grateful for this life. And I try my best to not ever think that I'm like, I don't think I ever really think that I'm better than anyone, but I more so hope that other people are also thinking these things. Like, my hope is that everybody can get to the point of loving each other and wanting to have conversation with each other. And I hope that we can get to the point at some point where, we're standing up for the things that we believe in and we're standing up for the people who deserve it. And I don't know, it's a lot to think about, but I think when I think about this podcast and when I think about what I hope that people are able to learn from me or from other people or from each other at some point when we get comments going in the comment section, is that sometimes you really do just have to stop thinking about what other people are going to think about you and live your life, yes, and not let other people control what you're doing. And at the same time, not caring to the point where you think that you're better than other people. I think the one thing about like content creation for me is that yes, you definitely have to not care about what other people think, but you do still need to care about other people. I don't think that that's like a crazy thing to think or like a crazy profound thing to say, but I think that sometimes people get lost in that of like, oh yeah, I don't care what people say about me. I don't care what people think about me. It's important, yes. I think that there's a balance of caring about what people think of you. I think it's important. I think it's important that the people that you care about, hold on, let me find it. Let me find it. Because what I'm trying to say here is that like, yes, don't care about what other people think. At the same time, though, I think it is important to care a little, have certain people that you do care about what they think. Because at the end of the day, like, those are the people who are going to keep you grounded and keep you not humble, but humble. And, like, keep that, like, level of humility that you should have. Sorry, something came up on my screen. Anyways. But I think that that's important and a necessary thing to have people around you who are going to keep you grounded. And so I think to a certain degree, you do have to care about what other people think, because if you do get to the point of not caring about what other people think, you end up like in a bad way. You end up in a bad way and you end up a little lost and confused for a little bit. And I'm hoping that I never end up like that. But anyways, I'm also super grateful for my family. Like, my family is really great. I think over the past few years, especially with the pandemic, I've been super grateful. And even like during the pandemic, I think I said this when I had this podcast. It was audio only back then. But I'm just super like, the pandemic cost us a lot. It did, as a society, and people lost family members and friends and stuff like that. And that's a very unfortunate part of it. At the same time, I think that there was a little bit of good that came out of it in terms of like people understanding that, life is short. And, I think that it highlighted a couple of things in life that are necessary that we kind of were losing sight of. And I think for me, I never really talked to my dad that much. Like, he would always be the parent that was home because my mom would work a lot. And then once we got older, she started working a different job, and she would work like into the night, so that, it was like she was here in the morning to see us off to school, and my dad would be home when we got home from school. And so my dad would be the one, who was there for like little events, like award stuff and everything. And there would be times when I would even tell my parents like, "Oh, it's not important. You don't have to come to something." And then sometimes I would see people with their parents there. And I would tell my parents it wasn't important, but I remember my parents would always show up. Like I remember there was this one graduation thing that I had, and my mom came, and I was really glad that she came because I ended up crying later on, which was unfortunate. But I was really happy that she had came and showed up, even though I said that I didn't need her to. And like I said, like my dad and my sister came to this like thing. I don't remember what it was. I think it was like a National Honor Society thing. And my dad came, and and my sister as well. And I'd be telling them like they don't have to, but I'm like so grateful that they did come. Like my parents, I will say sometimes I do have some childhood trauma stuff that I have to work through, yes. But nobody's perfect. And yeah, I did go through some things that I'm working through alone while I'm without a therapist because I can afford one. But at the same time, like my parents did a lot of things right, and I'm really happy that they showed up for me in ways that they knew how to. There were some ways that I maybe needed them to show up, and I didn't know how to articulate that, and I didn't know that that's something that I needed until I was older. But I'm glad that they showed up for me in the ways that they could, and I'm very appreciative of that. But during the pandemic, I got a lot closer to my dad because while he was the one who was home, yes, he would be really tired after work. Like he would go into work like super early in the morning, and he'd be super tired. But he would always do like what he does now. Like he comes home from work, and he does stuff around the house, and he mows the lawn and stuff like that. And I'm getting so emotional, which is crazy. I'm trying to embrace it. And but he would do that, and he still does that stuff now. And like his biggest thing, and something that and this is why I'm so grateful for the pandemic, because I don't think that I ever would have spoken to this man the way that I do now. But as the time was going on, the months were going on in quarantine, like we would go to the track and stuff, and we hang out as a family more. And I would ask him, like, what are the things that you've always wanted for your family? Like, how'd you know that you wanted to marry my mom? Or how did you know, how'd you know you wanted to have kids, and what made you want to have kids, and what made you pick this house and where we live? And he just he didn't grow up with his dad around. And I remember like one day on Father's Day, like there was something, we had gone to church or something, and they had a conversation about fathers and stuff, and my dad would talk about like his father figures and everything. But anyways, there was this one day I asked him, like about family and how he knew he wanted to have a family and get married and have kids. And he was like, my dad wasn't really around like that when I was younger or anything like that. And I just knew that I wanted to be in my kids' life, and I wanted them to have a home, and I just wanted to have something for them. And I love my dad so much. Like, I know my mom a lot, very well. I ask her questions all the time, and I've talked to her all the time growing up because, like, you're a daughter and she has daughters. So, like, obviously she would be really close. And again, I'm just so grateful for the pandemic because I've really gotten to know my dad, like, so much more than I think I ever would have had the opportunity to get to know him if it wasn't for, like, the world literally pausing and stopping and, you being around your family so much. And I just love my dad a lot. Like, he's given me a lot of great advice, and I talk to him all the time about stuff, and I'm just really grateful for my family. And like I said, like, I spend a lot of time with them, and for the most part, if we're all home, we eat dinner together. And I'm just so grateful for, like, my life. Like, wow. Like, again, there are really hard days, and there are days when, like, I beefing with my parents or something, or things like that. Or there are days when I'm like, I'm ready to move out, I'm ready to leave, which I am ready to go. But I'm so grateful for it. And I even hung out with my family, my mom's side of the family, the other day for Mother's Day. And I was with my cousins and my aunts and stuff. And we're even going on a trip in a couple weeks. And I'm super excited about it. But I spend time with them and I'm like, I love my family. Like, I love them. I love my immediate family. Yes, I love my extended family. I love my grandparents. I love my friends and my family. And I've been so grateful to have not yet experienced like losing somebody really close to me. And I'm so grateful for, like I said, my childhood friends. And I'm grateful for the teachers who have been in my life and have believed in me and all of these things. And I've done really amazing things in my life. And I'm really grateful. Like, wow, I'm so grateful. And I'm so grateful to be at the place now where I'm creating things that I'm so proud of and I'm so happy about. Like, I love this podcast so much. And I've said this before. I don't care if there's 2 people listening to this. I don't care if I'm the only person who ever listens to this podcast or watches it. Like, I'm just so happy. Like, I'm happy that I've made like friends on TikTok. Like, I'm happy that I have like a little community over there where I talk about basketball. Like, I'm happy that I have a basketball podcast that people are listening to. And like, somebody actually said something really nice to me in the comments the other day. And they were like, young lady, like, keep doing what you're doing. Like, this is great. And I'm just a big like emotional ball. I'm just a big emotional ball. And I'm like, yes, I'm about to lose my job. And like, that sucks. Yeah. That sucks. It does. It sucks really bad. But it's like, I know that there are good things happening because even though I've had like literally the worst, this has probably been like the worst start of a year for me. Like, it's not been nothing but tragedy these past few months. But I'm like, yeah, I'm about to lose my job, but I just have to believe that better things are happening because I can actively see them slowly happening. Like, this YouTube channel used to have 100 subscribers, if that. Used to have 100, and it was just from me making vlogs in high school, and I didn't touch this account for many years, and now I'm here and I'm posting my podcast, and I'm hoping that I'm building community, and I'm having people who are, I guess, sort of kind of caring about the stuff that I say, which is really cool. I never thought that was going to happen. Like, I'm really just a 23-year-old girl in her bedroom yapping on a mic. Like, I have ideas and I have thoughts and I have things that I want to say. And I have things that I believe in, and I have things that I advocate for, and I have art that I want to create, and I have things that I want to make, and I want to write a movie at some point and make a movie because that would be super fun, the same way that I also would love to release my music someday. That'd be really cool. And I'm just here and I'm having a good time and I'm super grateful for what is here and what I have, and I hope that I keep the same mind. I hope that I keep it and it just keeps growing and filling with knowledge, and I keep having the courage to come on here to share that with the world. So yeah, this has been really great for me. Tomorrow will be my last Tuesday at work, and then I'm going to be back here at the end of the week to talk about basketball stuff with the Girls Who Like Hoops podcast, and then I'm going to be here on this podcast later and talking about my last week at work and I guess the things that I've reflected on and learned for the week. But I hope that if you listen to this episode, you enjoyed it. One, it was just me being an emotional ball of energy, but hey, I'm happy I did it. I'm happy I'm here. Like, I'm happy that I'm continuing to show up for myself with this podcast. Like, that's been my biggest goal this year, just making sure that I'm consistent on this podcast. And I've pretty much done that except for the past few weeks, but it's not like I haven't missed an upload. It's not like I haven't, I've posted, they haven't been timely, but after I lose my job for real at the end of the week, I'm going to be on time with these, and I'm excited for what's to come from here. Honestly, I know that I don't know what that looks like, but I have a lot of faith that everything's going to work out and that I'm going to find the balance in all of these things. And I may not have all the answers to everything, but things are going to be okay at some point. Everything always ends up okay. So why would I think anything would be different now? I think things are going to be okay. And if you are questioning whether or not things are going to be okay in your life, I want you to know that they're going to be okay. At some point, literally, at some point, things have to turn around. That's the only thing that keeps me going. Only thing that ever keeps me going is that at some point, things are going to have to turn around, because life is about balance. And it wouldn't be balanced if you only ever experience really bad things all the time. So yeah, I have a lot of faith that things are going to be okay. It's important to believe in things. I believe if you are really struggling with feeling hopeless in humanity right now, find something to believe in. It doesn't have to be something huge. You could literally just be believing in yourself, believing in your friend, believing in your family, believing in your neighbor, believing that things can be better, and demanding that things are better. It could literally just be that. It doesn't have to be anything religious or faith-based or the universe or whatever, spirituality. It doesn't have to be any of that. It could literally just start with you believing in yourself. And that can take you a very long way. Anywho, I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. I really enjoyed making it. It was super emotional, but I had a good time. I'm going to go play video games with my friends, Call of Duty Mobile. So I guess I'll see you guys next week. And it should be an interesting week. I'm sure I'll be crying, sad, emotional. I guess we'll see. But if you want to follow me along during the week, my social media is linked in the description below. And follow me on or listening to this on to stay up to date on new episodes. Like and subscribe, get in the comments, yap. Maybe give me some advice, keep me pushing, like, hey girl, keep going. You guys could put that in there. Keep going. I have no clue what the description of this podcast is going to be. It's going to have to be clickbaity. Anyways, I'm going to see you guys next week. Bye.